Welcome to a strategy analysis of Shell. First, we will make an analysis of the oil and gas industry and give an overview of the company, including the resource analysis. We will then look at the environmental factor affecting the company and determining some key problems Shell face in the competitive environment. Lastly, we will provide some example of how Shell has come up with a strategic solution to those problems and appraise their strength and weakness for the future.
First, we want to make an analysis of oil and gas industry. The oil and gas market consists of activities of exploration, development, production, refining, storage, transport and marketing of oil and gas. We use elements of structure conduct performance paradigm to profile the industry. This involves number and size of firm, the level of vertical integration, barriers to entry, and finally, diversification and product differentiation. The six measured companies has 62% of total market revenue in 2009. The industry is oligopolistic, characterized by few large firms, and the industry is quite concentrated. The measured players are highly vertically integrated throughout the supply chain. Upstream activities are involved with extracting oil and gas from the sources fields. Downstream activities are involved with the refinement of crude oil and gas into commodities. Those are distributed via different channels such as petrol stations and various gas suppliers. Barriers to entry are extremely high due to the fact that the measured players have invested heavily in this vertical integration and R&D. Economies of scale play a vital part as the large players use their distribution networks and large production facilities to drive down costs. This weakens the threat of entry by new companies. Companies are generally little diversified. They sell gas and oil commodities. The large operating costs involved in this industry to make it difficult to expand to other product areas. Also, the oil and gas companies are not diversified in terms of products. For example, a car can run on petrol from any petrol station. The global oil and gas market shrunk by 30% of 2009 to reach a value of just over $2 trillion, is therefore a huge industry and has been greatly affected by the global economic crisis. Shell is one of the six major oil and gas companies and generally one of the largest companies in the world. Shell has followed the industry growth and performance in the latest 5 years, showing a step decline in performance in 2009 and a slow recovery occurring today as the rest of the economy.
Hi, we want to give a quick overview over Shell's resources by looking at the architecture, the reputation and the innovative capabilities of the firm. On the architecture side, Shell has one of the strongest operational networks in the world. This includes both upstream and downstream activities such as distribution and pipeline. On the reputation side, the Shell brand is actually one of the strongest brands in the oil industry. This is a major concern for the company, as we will see later in this video. On the innovative capabilities, Shell has invested heavily in R&D to secure future technological breakthroughs. Shell is also very financially strong, which means that if smaller firms come up with technological breakthroughs, they will actually be able to acquire these firms and benefit from their technology.
This is an analysis of the environment facing Shell in the areas of political and legal, economical, socio-cultural and environmental, and finally technological. Political and legal. Operating in over 90 countries, Shell has to deal with different degrees of political stability. Violations of antitrust and competition law in many countries pose a financial risk for Shell or its employees to criminal sanctions. Rising climate change concerns are leading to additional regulatory measures that may result in project delays and higher costs for Shell. Economical. As a global company, Shell's operating results and financial condition are exposed to fluctuating prices of crude oil, natural gas, oil products, and chemicals. The recession and economic difficulties in 2009 have caused a reduction in demand for oil and a drop in oil prices, which consequently caused a drop in profits for Shell. Social and environmental. The increased focus on climate change has led to ethical persecution from various environmental groups. Also, the Kyoto Protocol calls on industrialized countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emission levels. Shell's large operations affect many local communities. They face obligations from these communities to educate in health and safety. Technological. According to Shell CEO Peter Wasser, the increasing demand for oil cannot be met by conventional drilling methods. Deepwater and Arctic drilling operations has to be performed. This is a difficult challenge for the oil companies. In the area of gas exploration, the erosion of natural gas fields has led to the exploration of different contaminated gas fields. These types of gas require higher technological expertise to become useful. The latest developments in drilling focus on highly specialized operations like the use of low-cost wells and computerized fields. These types of operations still pose a challenge to Shell.
We have identified two key strategic problems for Shell. From the environmental analysis, we can establish that Shell has a large stakeholder base and managing the reputation is a key aspect for the firm. Pressure from more environmental groups is a constant threat to all companies' reputation. The recent oil disaster in the Mexican Gulf is only one among a series of ethically disputable episodes in the history of the oil industry. The disposal of Shell's Brent Spar oil storage buoy in the northern Atlantic is by some called the PR disaster of the century. And in 1989, the Exxon Valdez oil spill led to a seriously damaged nature in the region of Alaska. These events all led to a drop in the profitability for the involved firms, including Shell in 1995. From the industry analysis and the Porter's Five Forces analysis, we can establish that the rivalry among players is high. The rivalry is intensified due to the nature of the industry, with few large firms and complex operations, which incurs high fixed costs and intensive labor requirements.
Solutions to the stakeholder problem. Since 1995, Shell has been involved in a worldwide program of engagement called Society's Changing Expectations, with different stakeholder groups to try to understand more fully society's expectations of multinational energy companies. One of the key elements for Shell was to commit itself to communicate with openness and transparency. Shell has consciously sought to move from being a global corporate outcast to a leader in the sustainable development movement. Enhancing social and environmental reporting and understanding and managing its corporate reputation are ways in which Shell manages its stakeholders. We will now look at how Shell copes with high industry rivalry from an internal and external perspective. Internal view. Shell is now focused on cost leadership in the market. They increase their profitability through high asset turnover and controlling their supply chain. According to CFO Simon Henry, a short-term strategy for the company is a focus to drive down cost and maximizing on capital efficiency throughout the supply chain. There is little product differentiation between oil and gas companies. A long-term strategy is to explore new energy sources. The company does have a focus on differentiation through products like V-Power, the sponsorship of Formula One, and campaigns for community support. Shell's strategy in the market. Shell must use this strategy to increase sales volume in the existing market by inducing customers. However, heavy competition in the industry makes it difficult to penetrate existing markets. Market development strategy may be appropriate for Shell to capture new markets by placing existing products. For example, the emerging markets are going to increase their oil and gas consumption heavily in the next 25 years. Shell should introduce new products in the existing marketplace that will amplify profitability, which will be made possible by product innovation. By investing heavily in R&D to discover new environmental efficient fuels and acquire smaller and more technologically advanced firms, Shell is strategically working on product development. Shell has huge market opportunities and investment funds to exploit key opportunities. However, diversification into both new products and new markets is risky for the company.
Shell's a strong focus on meeting the demand of environmental pressure groups and improve the brand has over the last 15 years proven a strength to the company. Its large operation and heavy investment in the marketing biofuels proves a strong foundation for Shell's future, especially when new reports claim that emerging markets will increase their oil and gas consumption significantly over the next 25 years. On the other hand, competition in the industry is high, which reduces Shell's chances to win the race against the commercially sustainable fuel supply for the future. Finally, recent industrial disasters have increased the focus on safety measures that can have impact on profitability. BP nearly went bust because of one specific incident, which proves that even the largest, most successful companies can be brought down within a few weeks. Thank you for watching.